SpaceX's Starship program boasts the world's tallest and most powerful rocket. It will eventually put people and cargo on Mars, and after continuous testing of the Starbase's suborbital launch, has now led SpaceX to finally launch their very first Starship prototype on the orbital space as part of the company's first test campaign. So let's take a look at an overview of the main milestone on Starship's journey to the Red Planet. But before that, be sure to smash that like button, subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell for all our future updates. For our viewers who don't know about SpaceX, let's quickly recap on that before getting into today's video. Billionaire Elon Musk created SpaceX back in 2002 from the sales of his two earlier businesses, a software service internet company called Zip2 and an online payment provider famously known as PayPal. Founded by Musk in 2002, SpaceX is a commercial space transportation company. It is headquartered in Hawthorne, California. SpaceX designs, manufactures, and launches advanced rockets and spacecrafts. SpaceX has developed the notorious Falcon 1, Falcon 9, and Falcon Heavy vertical orbital launch vehicles that were initially built to become reusable launch vehicles. Elon Musk's ultimate objective was to create a Mars settlement company, and that said, SpaceX has been plenty busy in other realms of space as well. SpaceX has built Dragon cargo ships and Crew Dragon astronaut spaceships for the International Space Station and has launched satellites for a vast number of its customers abroad, and the Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy rockets as well. As for Mars, Musk mainly releases new far-out Mars versions of sending crews and rockets. Elon Musk then rebranded his Mars colonizing spaceflight system as Starship in the year 2018. The same year, Musk tweeted, "Starship is the spaceship upper stage, and Super Heavy is the rocket booster required to escape Earth's deep gravity well, not needed for other planets or moons." Originally CEO, Elon Musk had planned to create his Starship out of carbon fiber. But as things never usually pan out the way we want, in January 2019, Musk announced that Starship would now be built from stainless steel. And while stainless steel is heavier than carbon fiber, originally increasing the needed fuel for launch, along with the associated cost, Musk said stainless steel has better thermal properties for spaceflight, so it would minimize the cost in the long haul. Musk then later said this design change was the best decision he made for the Starship project. Starship has undergone some tweaks for a design change since 2019. Musk plans to put in 6 Raptor engines on the Starship vehicle instead of 7. Musk then changed the number of Raptors on the Super Heavy as well, initially dropping the number from 35 to 31 and then raising it back up again to include up to 37 Raptors. Not all engines will be needed on each flight, but at least 24 Raptors are required to carry the enormous craft into space, Musk has said. Recently, the latest update from Starbase confirmed that the Starship SN20 would be presented in 1 or 2 suborbital launch tests. A 6-week break will then follow these supporting tests to allow the SpaceX workers to work through the upper level of the enormous spacecraft. These initiatives successfully passed its qualification test that the previous SpaceX crafts could pass without repeating any more issues. SpaceX's 2 months of preparing the Super Heavy and Starship were born, and the Starship SN20 presented unexpected fragile heat shield tiles. The ship's theatrical exhibition was explained by Musk by saying that the tiles are jetted by the spacecraft due to the cold gas stuck in a high-pressure thruster. The loss of several heat shields supported that the Starship SN20 did not meet the required pressure and cryogenics. The thermal contraction of the steel in an environment with shallow temperatures could slightly change the mass of rocket's diameter and cluster the tiles. With the event, Starship's very own ceramic heat shield tiles were also judged as fragile. All the other parts were also found to shatter and chip off after they were attached to Starship. The SN20 has also accomplished its cryogenic pressure-proof test in its second phase of their testing for the Starship, which was great news for the team of hard-working experts, even though some heat shield tiles fell off Starship 20 during the first attempt of the cryo test. But SpaceX overcame this issue effortlessly, and as of now, everything seems to be all good with the tiles. SpaceX also confirmed that the tanks of Ship 20 were filled with cryogenic liquid nitrogen to a near spaceflight pressure levels, and hydraulic rams replicated the Raptor engine thrust to complete the test. And the SpaceX team checked off this milestone by having their SN20 pass their test with flying colors. Later on, after passing the proofing tests, SpaceX is now scheduled to reinstall its Raptor engines on Starship SN20 for a newly changed fire test in its next phase. Also, the SN15 was the last Starship example to go through the cryogenic pressure-proof testing that was followed by the static fire tests. However, there was a 2-week break between both of these tests, and some Raptor engines needed some repair and replacement before getting fully ready for the static fire tests and a successful flight and landing in outer space later on. Also, the same setback can happen with the SN20 prototype as the Raptor engines go through an extensive evaluation process. And if that's the case, we'll be yet again seeing a slight delay in the prototype. We know that SpaceX always aims for an orbital flight test with Starship 20. And well, the stakes are much higher than the SN15 10-kilometer high altitude test. Meanwhile, SpaceX is also busy with several other projects at Starbase, such as the new integration towers, the Starship Quick Disconnect Arm, and the chopsticks that will attempt to catch the Super Heavy rocket booster upon landing. The Starship 20 or SN20 was able to launch from its assembly line for the first time back in the third quarter. The SN20 could fly from the Starbase setup site some miles away off the South Texas Highway during its first attempt. This initial examination, SpaceX has already equipped its Starship 20 of the anticipated Super Heavy Booster 4. This highly anticipated booster is essential to the following projects Elon Musk informed that their company would eventually run in the near future, including the rocket's debut to orbital flight. After the test, SN20 was again reconfigured in the Starbase for additional weeks. Furthermore, on September 27, SpaceX first tested the Starship SN20's Reaction Control System (RCS), which is a set of thrusters plotted to control the spaceship when it is in space. After a few days, SpaceX engineers continued to conduct a cryogenic proof test of the Starship SN20 prototype. During the trial, engineers tested the stainless steel spacecraft's structural strength by filling it up with cryogenic liquid nitrogen to pressure the SN20 spaceship's tanks. The SpaceX experts also simulated the force of the Raptor engines as well. SpaceX later on performed a second cryogenic proof test a few days later, and as soon as the test was completed, billionaire SpaceX founder chief engineer Elon Musk shared by saying that the proof was good. So now SpaceX can move forward to testing out their Starship SN20's Raptor engines. As mentioned before, the spacecraft simply will be equipped with 6 engines. 3 of those are vacuum-optimized Raptors that feature a large nozzle designed explicitly for propulsion in space. The Super Heavy Booster 4 will consist of 29 Raptor engines that are mapped out for the atmospheric flight. Booster 4 will undergo an individual testing season soon. The first is expected to be a series of various proof tests similar to SN20, then static fire tests of the powerful engines. SpaceX's Super Heavy rocket is set to become the world's most powerful launch vehicle once it's operational. The rocket will be the first time the company will be launching a rocket with 29 Raptor engines, which is very exciting for SpaceX fans as the engines are new in the aerospace industry. Designed and manufactured by SpaceX, unlike any other traditional rocket engines fueled by rocket-grade kerosene, Raptor engines are fueled by liquid methane and liquid oxygen, which are also referred to as methalox. Each of these Raptor engines can generate around 185 tons of thrust, and Musk has previously said SpaceX's ultimate goal is to increase thrust from 185 tons to 230 tons in future Raptor engine production. Well guys, that's all we have for you today, all about SpaceX's Starship SN20 finally launching into orbit. What are your thoughts on this? Do you think the SN20 will get to the red planet? Get involved and let us know in the comment section down below what do you think about today's video. Thanks for watching guys, we hope you have a great day today and we'll see you in the next video.